Maybe in spite of the confrontation, what we see secondly, apart from the controversies that therefore brings into our agenda values of modernity, how we are going to define these values of modernity, is mutual borrowings. We see new public figures today in the European public sphere, and who are referring to Islam, and they are becoming more audible because they are referring to Islam. I give very short examples. The latest one is the Archbishop of Canterbury. Maybe nobody would have noticed what he was saying, except that he spoke about Sharia. This is the most telling example. But the Pope himself as well. So more there is this reference to Islam, more one becomes public and audible. That's an example also of the formation of a public sphere in Europe through the reference to Islam. And also, of course, new public figures trying to bring European and Muslim together. And I think Tariq Ramadan is the first and the most important person who tried to hyphenate this identity, to bring into the public sphere both being European and Muslim without being assimilated. So I will say that in the European public sphere, in spite of the confrontation, there is also a lot of borrowing, if we want to be more optimistic, a lot of borrowing which is taking place. So either we can say European public sphere is constructed in confrontation, but also in trying to impose Western values in a hegemonic way. I think that's what happened in France with the legislation, for instance, of the ban of the ostentatious religious signs, but especially the ban of the veiling, but also in relation to referendum in relation to Turkey, questioning the legitimacy of the Turkish membership. So we can think that for the moment public debate is mainly dominated by the desire of Western citizens to impose, or let's say to reinforce, the hegemony of Western values in terms of secularism, gender equality, and this freedom of expression. But at the same time, we can say at a different level the debate is ongoing and mutual borrowings are taking place. The second question that was raised was what we think in relation to the United States. Is there a definition difference between Europe and the United States? I will take the example of Barack Obama's elections, and I think it's a very important moment in maybe trying to understand also our debates in Europe, because it changes this binary opposition. That is the whole question. Can we really divide totally Muslim and European, or can there be forms of intermingling between them? Can there be a way of creating hyphenated identities? And I think Obama-Barack's election is very important for us. First of all, the title of this debate that we're having today is I Have a Dream, which refers, with knowing or without knowing the results of the elections, I don't know, to Martin Luther King's speech. So it introduces the race question and into our debate, and we can think of race and religion together. And Obama represents something which I'm trying to say in relation to religion, in relation to Islam in Europe, because it is difficult to name him. He's neither black nor white. There's this ambivalence. He's not African-American because he's African, that is, but he's also very American. So he's not African-American in the sense that he's not representing, as many black people were saying, the African-American experience of stigmatization, exclusion, and so on. He's an outsider. He's coming from somewhere else, that is Kenya, Hawaii, and Kansas. So he's really a very mixed figure. It's not even hyphenated. It is hybrid. It is polysemic. And he had to pass through a very important process of legitimizing his own position, both as a black and a white, and going beyond this binary opposition. So it's not only a question of blackness and also just the one who is excluded, because he's not that excluded if you go to Columbia University and Harvard. So he is really confusing all these signs. And I think what we need, it can open up our understanding of Islam in that sense too, because these girls who are Muslim veiled girls are neither this nor that. They are not only Muslim traditionally, they are both taking distance from traditions and they are refusing secular feminism. So they are this in-between space they are trying to open up. We cannot consider contemporary Islam today as something traditional, nor totally political. It is opening up a new space. And I think Tariq Ramadan represents something like this. He's also an outsider and insider. One cannot be that much outsider to Europe and so insider to Europe, because he's coming from elsewhere. Can I say that? Like Obama. And he's not neither representing this experience of migrants as excluded, stigmatized, and in social and economic and even in terms of education. So he's an insider, but insider that disturbs. So Obama is not a person that we can say, oh, he's great, he's cosmopolitan, he embraces all kinds of people. No, this bringing together these differences are problematic. I think that's what we have to discuss. That is, bringing these differences and how one can really differentiate between outsider and insider. Islam is becoming insider and not an outside issue. It becomes a European issue, but disturbs because it is not assimilated. Last word is, maybe I have a dream. Do I still have a dream? Three of us have conflicting dreams, maybe. At least we represent conflicting dreams. That's why it is interesting, because the Turkish desire of Europe, for instance, if I bring in front my Turkishness, the Turkish desire of Europe was considered as a forced marriage, not to say religious marriage, and as a forced marriage by France, saying that we don't want to have pre-arranged marriages, we can question that marriage. So the desire for some was considered as a nightmare. The Turkish desire, Turkish dream for Europe became a nightmare for French in one respect. And so Euro-Turk as a hyphen today is not, I would say, welcomed. And again, European Muslim, if Tariq Ramadan's dream is to bring together European Islam, I would say also met with similar kind of suspicion, politics of suspicion, and double language. Do they have a hidden agenda? The Turkish way too. They said that that's a cheval de Troie. Trojan horse. If Turks enter into Europe, they will bring Islam, and we will have also bad neighbors. And also, in relation to Dutch European, we know also that it's not that easy, the hyphen, the dream of Dutch for Europe, that's not that welcomed by Dutch citizens neither. So what dream we're going to share, if we really can find out a common dream between three of us, in spite of our differences, maybe this will be a way to think of Europe through the other Europe, not the other of Europe, but how the other Europe maybe is getting a voice and a dream. Thank you.